suppose you've all heard, maybe through the grapevine, some of the really horrific things that have been done to me. Over a year ago, in the summer, I realized that I was being watched. There were cameras. And when I did ask the landlord, she confirmed that I was being I was being surveilled without having a criminal background or any kind of reason. That they would come and put cameras in my living space when I wasn't home, take my things, so that would be considered search and seizure, to be able to come into someone's home without their being home, to steal their vehicle keys and then to plant them back later in a place where you know they aren't, and you've already combed through the whole place, so you knew that they were taken out of your purse so that other people could get keys to the truck, keys to get in. They took my mail in this community at Saratoga Springs with the help of my ex-husband and other people helping him and to cover things up. So they set me up to where I wouldn't get the mail. I wasn't able, and so I lost my truck. And then they called and I guess got my Social Security stalled because the disability that I was on, just anything they could do, because if I didn't have any money, then I couldn't pay any fines or get my truck back. And then when I was talking to the judge about wanting to get the truck back and going to the DMV, the registration was still in my name. And yet when I called Dwayne's Towing, they had already taken my truck and then somehow wrecked it. And then I get all these calls from insurance about the wrecking of the Dodge Ram. And so, and just in this constant watching me is just, you have no right to surveil me like this. Especially when somebody hasn't done anything to anyone, that's not coming after anyone. Before I went to Saratoga Springs and I lived in Pleasant Grove, I had gone through, I already had been diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer that had come back by Dr. Bott and the Utah Cancer Center at the hospital at American Fork Hospital, and also in Revere Health knew that I was told that it came back, and they had actually prescribed me Verzenio, and them trying to call me a liar, saying that didn't happen, completely defame my character in every way. And yet I'm getting messages today, don't complain. I am grateful for my life, in spite of everything that everyone has done to me, no question about it. And the disappointing behavior from people that are only showing who they actually really are deep down inside. So thank you. It's good to know that you cannot be trusted and to keep you far from me. That's a good thing to know. Still, before, when I was living in Pleasant Grove, I was still dealing with that. My boss had died. I was a caregiver for him for several years. And when I came to live in Pleasant Grove, I had to move in because I wanted to keep my animals, which are very important to me. And it was not the best of places. She didn't ever take care of her property. It was pretty run down. And so while I was there, not only did I end up in ICU with COVID for about 8 to 10 days in American Fork Hospital, and I was very sick. It took a long time to recover. Then a year, almost exactly a year later, I stepped in a hole of the broken tile in her home. And I'd already told her about the broken tile that I fell earlier, like a few months before, and jarred my back, But then I stepped in the same hole again and fell and crushed my shoulder and had to have a complete reverse shoulder replacement. And during that time, it was a long, and you have no idea. They kept They kept me on pain meds while I was waiting for surgery for a week, while my shoulder was literally sloshing back and forth and I was in a brace before they could get me in for the surgery. And the recovery for that, it takes a year or more. And so even before, so at 6 months point, I was being forced, there was complications with the power always going off, and the landlord not fixing her breaker box, and we were concerned that the house would catch on fire. So she was mad because I'd called the city and said, our landlord won't fix the power box, and that was really why I called, but they asked me different questions, and so she lost her goats because they wanted to know how many animals she had, because she bought another cow instead of fixing the breaker box. And she had renters in the basement. She had a daycare center up front or upstairs. There was just, and then I find out from Moxie Law Group that the company or the attorney that, they were helping me, with the case with my shoulder. But all of a sudden they decided they didn't want to help me. They couldn't help me because not only did she not have insurance for renters, she didn't have insurance for a daycare either, right? And so unless there was easy money, they didn't want to go to bat, to take, the house, right? Which, but you have no idea, because I was forced out of the home, which I learned that they had cameras there too, that they were monitoring me there too. Thanks to my ex-husband, Kent, and he probably had a lot to do with, the situation that was going on, and I'm absolutely sure of it. And of course I learned that they had rerouted my mail after I left Brenda's, right? So anyway, I had gone through so much. And a lot of the reason why I started drinking beer was really because I was in physical pain most of the time. That was the reason for it. I was just trying to stay to my last day, and believe me, those years were brutal. They were absolutely brutal. I didn't deserve to be treated the way that I was, but when I got this fake eviction thing from Brenda, and I got an attorney in Provo, and then of course she didn't get away with it, but it was, she didn't do it right, and it was messy. And so they just said, well, go ahead and go, just so there's no problem. So I packed up the truck because I just wanted to follow what he said, and probably didn't have to at that point, but I went ahead and got my animals, and I would have had a place to go if I'd had a place for my animals, but I wasn't willing to give them up, but I was still being forced out. So here I was trying to pick up and move things only 6 months after the surgery on my shoulder, which is a whole other thing, right? Because I totally exacerbated the replacement, and the fizzing and the ache that just I had to heal all over again. It's like you have to start from scratch. But it was pretty significant. And then I found the other condo, the condo, only for them to go to her and get her involved, Courtney, who was, being the property manager for the condo, only to find out that she's working with my family members and ex, to put cameras in. There was a whole campaign going on against me. And here I was, I had been, and maybe this was the problem. You'd think your family would care about you when you tell them that you have cancer coming back. And in your own mind, you've been told by a renowned doctor that you're going to die. It affects your whole being. But that's not but they didn't handle it with compassion. Oh, no. They got a part of a plan and a plot to destroy me, to make me feel so hurt that they were attacking me. They didn't care. They wanted me to know for sure that they didn't care if I died, because there was money that was coming. And when I called the police and I told them, there is an inheritance that's meant for me, and my family's stealing it, and they're doing it because, I've had, been diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, and, they're coming, they're trying to steal it from me. And he didn't take it seriously. And I knew by the way that my family was treating me that there was no way that I could belong to them and have them behave in this cold way. It's like, No. And, and I knew for a long time that there was a difference, in my own family. But you have no idea to the degree of heartache and getting my children involved. Of course, I have a daughter that's, is already affected by a father, so, if you don't have a teamwork after a divorce, you never know where they're going to lead that child, right? But that's her choice. She's an adult, so she can just face what she's done. But I'm not here. I didn't do anything to anyone, okay, first of all. And to find out that there's people in leadership positions in the state. I even wrote to them. I emailed the DOJ and told them what was going on. Did they bother to help me find out who my parents were or why my family was attacking me? No, didn't hear from them. And only to find out that even they were trying to get the gifts and the work that I have worked so hard for. Even they worked with somebody from the military to take what belonged to me, that was gifted to me. But you have to understand something. I worked very hard. And someone believed in me. And it was their dying wish to give me something. Because they knew what I was going through, number one. And because they gave a damn and they knew I was talented. And who knows what other reasons there were. But instead of helping me out, when I was singing at Star Maker, I was one of their best ones, right? They bullied me. They would steal my work. They made everything so difficult and so evil that I had to leave. Only for me to find out that when I leave, I see that they're coming over. And have somehow collaborated with family members of mine in this community. Get everybody I know from here to Utah, clear over to the East Coast, right? Why would this be happening? Why would you do this? You say, okay, well, it's the money, blah, blah, blah. Don't take it personally. It is very personal. What you have done to invade my privacy and to mock and harm me, it's a big deal. I take it very seriously, okay? It isn't that I can't forgive people and keep going, but some things that can be done that you just can't escape. You have to face the consequences as adults. And some of you call yourself religious people, and it just is appalling for me to see that you really don't care about God or your conscience. Maybe you don't even have a conscience. Or you think that because you're at this certain level that the law all of a sudden just doesn't apply to you, when we know for a fact that it absolutely does. And I have been working on my life and myself, believing for all this time, myself, that I was going to die. And I just wanted to do something with my life before my last day. And you all came after me while I was harming no one. You expect so much from me and expect absolutely nothing from yourselves. No accountability for what you've done. None of it. You just want to get away with it. And you expect me to take the brunt of what you did to me. And you're mad because I'm not going to let you walk all over me. And you still think that's my fault. I can't help people that just have no way of processing reality. I cannot afford to let people that would want me dead and that would do everything in their power to harm me back. Of course not. I don't even understand people like that. And there isn't an amount of money or fame that would ever make me do a thing like that to a person. I would never even do that. I wouldn't even be able to conceive of it. So you can understand how really incredibly horrible it is. And putting me on CCTV. It's you went too far. It's not my fault what you did. It really isn't. You know it isn't. And I deserve protection by the police department. Do you know how it feels to call police and have them not follow through and do their jobs? To write to the DOJ, only to find out that they're probably involved in some way, to cover it up, to protect somebody, that somehow, did they have to do that or did they just choose to do that? If we don't have protection in this country, if I don't have my constitutional rights, do you really think that you will? Do you really think that you're going to continue to have your constitutional rights if mine are ripped from me? And I'm determined to find out exactly why. Because but even when I do find out why, it's only going to make it worse. I realize that, there's really there's nothing you can do that's really going to help me understand, I don't think. But I can tell you this, that if it wasn't for prayer and praying constantly, keeping God in my heart, having hope and faith, believing in myself and my talent, I don't think I would have gotten through. But I also have no intention of letting people that could sink so very low have any kind of power over me. You don't deserve, there's no way I would give you that kind of power. No way. You don't know what I'm made of. You don't know what I've been through that's made me really strong. And believe me, it wasn't a guru. It was my relationship with God, my faith, that got me through this. And that's a fact. I don't even listen to anybody tell me how to do or how to be. And the more they push me around, the less I listen. It's easier to draw in than it is to push somebody. Push them until they don't ever want to see you again. I don't like bullies. I don't believe in bullying people is the proper way to make somebody better. Now, let's say we had an earthquake. We would have to get through it, right? It would happen, we'd have to get through it and build, and we'd all be stronger because we'd have no choice, we'd have to do it, right? So if you're going to create a false scenario or a false earthquake for somebody's life to destroy them, intended to end their life, which you did, and she just keeps rising, it's not because of you. I was doing that long before any of you. I did that when I broke my shoulder. I did that when I had COVID. I did that through cancer. I did that raising my children. I did that through divorces. There has never been a moment in my entire life where I haven't had to be some kind of a soldier. And you better know that there's nothing that I owe you, that I feel compelled to do for you at this point. I can't. I will do my best when I get all of the information. I am a good person. I'm fair and I'm just. But I deserve the fairness that I was never given, the justness that I was never given, and the rights, my human and civil rights, that you felt so empowered to take away from me. And you had no legal right to do it. You didn't. There's no matter how much time or how much prayer, it comes out the same way. And I'm standing with conviction knowing that this is how I should feel. These are my rights. The people in high places that think they can destroy the little people, they deserve to know that you need to stand up for yourselves and what could happen if we're not paying attention and if we're not using our intuition. Our leaders, they're not gods, okay? They're not. They're human beings. And everybody sins, that's one thing. But when somebody gets in high places and they think that they are more of a human being than you, there's a problem. And these people felt like they were more of a human being than me. Because I'm on SSDI, living a peaceful life until my last day, being grateful for the little bit I did have, frustrated by the things that I couldn't do, but still finding joy in every single day, no matter what. These people don't know how to do that. All they want to do is just the next scam, where they can get the next dime, or who they can get into their programs that will spend money. You know, and maybe some bit, you know, I'm sure there's value in some of it, right? Nevertheless, you know, a sales pitch is empty without the backup. And I have sang my heart out. I've spoken to you, and I've given you real value. You've got a lot of value out of me. I know what my talents are. I know what my gifts are. But you didn't make me strong. God makes me strong. This isn't my first rodeo. This might be the ugliest rodeo, and I won't forget, and neither will you. But this isn't my only one. I'm so much stronger than you ever know, and I was that person way before I met you guys. I was. Absolutely. And when you get to a place in your life where you realize that just because you get a death sentence, but your life is still, you still are here, what are you going to do with that time? You got nothing else to lose, right? Well, I've got news for you. Everybody's got a death sentence. We're all going to die. We just don't know when or how. Now, I've done my best to give you value, but I'm not going to stoop to any of you, okay? You have no right to do what you did to me. None of you. And don't you know, you're going to have to face it. You must. That's not for me to do for you. It isn't. Of course not. I can have compassion for some, for the kids that were drawn into something, for people that were misinformed. But those that really were seriously involved, I don't think so. I mean, it's just going to take some real time to get through that, to sort it out. But there's people I do want to talk to that I know had to have been involved. Because how could these people down here do so much without these people up here helping them, right? So, you know, I look forward to getting the whole picture. I'm not, just because I live doesn't give you a right to destroy me to save your face, to cover things up to make you look good. I'm a human being that deserves love and respect. I'm not harming anyone. I have a genuine faith. I don't do things like this to people. And I'm not trying to stand on my soapbox. It's the truth. It's how I live. It's how I feel. It's what I expect from other people that have faith. That they stand on those principles that they say that they believe in. It means something to me. And it should mean something to you. And if it doesn't, I hope soon it will. Because this needs to be a serious example of the value of a human being. Exploitation and abuse for financial gain. Think about that. Repeat that in your head a few times. Exploitation of an innocent person. And even if I wasn't an innocent person, if something didn't belong to you, you stole anyway. The exploitation and the brutal public abuse, a public stoning to destroy my life and humiliate me. I didn't deserve it, but you do. You really do. And you know it. It's a sad thing, but I have to be honest. I'm not going to come up here and just pretend like it's all, you know, roses and butterflies, because it's a serious matter. And everyone, no matter what your station is in life, you have a voice, and you should use it every chance you get. You owe it to yourself and to your children to speak up for yourself. Don't let these people bully you because of their positions. As long as you live and breathe and you're obeying the law, you deserve, you deserve your U.S. constitutional rights. You do, your rights as a human being that they somehow felt like I didn't deserve. How is that? How is that? How did that happen? I'm sorry that my existence, I'm not sorry, but excuse me for the fact that I survived and that I'm alive. cause you problems. That's more of a shame on you than it is on me. I didn't do anything to you. No, I didn't. But we need to have a conversation. And I've waited long enough to get the facts. Time has come for me to get all the answers to all of my questions. And we'll see how the dust settles. We'll just see how that happens. But I'm not your scapegoat for your crime. And I'm not sorry for my life and that I exist. And that I've had children, whether they love me or not. I love them. Their problems are, now that they're adults, their problems really are theirs. But I love them. And I support them. Most of them anyway. The ones I can. Thank you for listening. It's an important message. You know, we've got to stand up to leadership that abuses power. This is such a disgusting abuse of power. It's like we don't even live on the planet anymore. Everything that you thought that was a firm ground that you stand on, whatever you thought was real and tangible, can be ripped out from under you by selfish, greedy people. They don't give a damn, anybody but themselves. And they've proved this. So if you get sick, maybe it's something that you need to do is to keep it a secret. Because the people that love you the most, or should love you the most, they're the ones that want you to die the most. They're the ones that really want you gone. It seems to be. That's a really sad condition. And maybe we need to reevaluate how we even raise these kids. That they want their parents just to go so they can have their stuff. Or get what belongs to them. Now there's some mothers that are pretty despicable. There's no question. But I do, and if mine is that despicable, well, thank you for having birth, giving birth to me. That's worth thanking you for. Thank you for that. Take care.